Hello, everyone. I wanted to jump on today and tell you about an incredible man. His name is Daryl Davis. He is a Black man, he's a musician, and he has also been directly involved in 200 KKK members leaving the Klan, deciding to leave the Klan, starting with the Imperial Wizard, the Grand Dragon of the Maryland KKK, Roger Kelly, a man that Daryl was initially warned not to mess with because Roger would kill him. What Daryl couldn't understand from a very young age is why someone would hate him without knowing him. He couldn't find an answer to this question. So he decided to go straight to the source, to leaders in the KKK, starting with Roger Kelly, to sit down for a conversation, to seek to understand the other side, to give Roger a platform to share his thoughts, even if Daryl didn't agree with them, in order for them to understand each other. And very early on, what Daryl learned and what led to multiple conversations and eventually a friendship is that ignorance, when left unchecked, leads to fear. And that fear, when left unchecked and unaddressed, leads to hatred. We hate what we are afraid of. And that hatred, when left unchecked, leads to destruction. We want to destroy what we hate. So to close the gap on the ignorance, Daryl sat with Roger and had a conversation, multiple conversations. Daryl understood that when you are talking to your enemy, you're not fighting, you're not destroying, you're having a conversation. And in those conversations, Daryl learned that the KKK members believe in their DNA. It's so ingrained, so cemented after years of being brainwashed as children, of being told that this was the truth, that Blacks are born with smaller brains, that they're genetically more prone to violence, to raping women, to crime, and that they're inherently lazy. So how can Daryl sit across someone who believes this at his core and not react, not be triggered, not get angry? Because he knew who he was. He understood who he was. And that allowed him to be able to continue to keep the dialogue open. And what Daryl focused on was what him and Roger and other KKK members that he sat with befriended. He focused on what they had in common. And the more he focused on what they had in common, the more the superficial differences of skin color became less and less relevant. We Americans, we are each responsible for fostering the racism that is ingrained in our culture. We have made it taboo to talk about race, which has led to us ignoring the problem, which has led to us denying the problem and hoping it'll just go away because we have so much shame tied to the idea that this country was built on segregation, separation, hierarchy based on race. So I urge you to watch Daryl's TED Talk. Listen to the wisdom in his words. Listen to the journey that he has courageously gone down. If one man, out of pure curiosity to understand why someone who would hate him without knowing him is able to create so much change in the lives of these klansmen. You know, he initially set out to just understand, and what led to 200 klansmen leaving their respective clans. If Daryl is able to achieve that, what can we all achieve? What can we individually achieve, and what can we collectively achieve when we're willing to understand the other side? And I'm not asking you to put your life in a line and go talk to a Klans member today. But what you can do is first have that conversation internally. Why do I have the prejudices that I have? And I say it in that way. I don't ask, do you have prejudice? We all have it. Why do I have it? And am I willing to see it differently? Am I willing to correct the falsehoods within me? I also urge you to open up conversation, open up dialogue with those that have views that are very different than yours. We shy away from it because it's uncomfortable, but that just perpetuates us separating based on our differences. I urge you to engage in those tough conversations. I urge you to ask questions that help bridge that gap. I urge you to find common ground with that individual who you think is your enemy. This can be applied to racial tension, political tension, and global tension. Right now, our focus in this nation is racial tension. Seek to understand why someone says all lives matter. Seek to understand why someone says Black lives matter and is willing to put their life on the line. Ignorance fosters fear. Fear fosters hatred. Hatred fosters destruction. I urge you all to watch Daryl's TED Talk. It's 18 minutes of your life that I know you have. There's 7 million views on this video, and I still think that's barely a dent. If you have access to the internet, watch this video, watch this TED Talk, share it with others. What this man was able to accomplish with courage to have the tough conversation is miraculous. And the beauty is we can all do it. Imagine what our government would look like if we were willing to have those tough conversations without judgment, without shaming, and truly seek to understand, seek to create bridges across this vast valley of differences we've created. It starts with us individually. If we're not willing to have it, no one is.